Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Welcome, Jazakumullah for showing up for this halaqa. So today we'll speak about ash-shurut, the conditions for as-salah. So in the Malikiya we have 3 levels of shurut. What is ash-shurut? The conditions for as-salah. Allah in the Quran says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. This hadith which says if you get up to pray, then do the following, right? Wash your faces and so on. So if you get up to pray, you're doing what? You're doing wudu. But is wudu part of the salah? The wudu is not part of the salah, but it's what makes a salah valid. So it's not a pillar of a salah, it's a condition for the validity of salah. So when we're studying the shurut, the conditions are not pillars. They're not pillars of a salah, they are the things which precedes the physical pillars. Okay? So there's 3 levels of shurut, and the shurut are shurut wujub, shurut siha, or shurut siha wa wujub. We'll go into them one by one and we'll explain what they are. So shurut wujub, the condition that makes a salah an obligation. The shurut, the conditions, can you guess? What are the conditions that makes a salah? Sorry?
Conditions that make salah like mandatory?
Mandatory, yeah.
Being conscious, being Muslim, what else? Being valid.
Not bad. Very, very good. So, shurutu al-wujub, the condition that makes a salah an obligation is to become puber. So someone who is not puber, a certain age, and puberty, they cover that quickly. So puberty is when a young boy or a girl reaches maturity. So that person is mukallaf, yeah. So he has al-mani, or for the woman al-hayd, wal-haml, so the woman is able to conceive, have a child. The small hair like yours does not mean that you have reached puberty, but puberty in the pubic place, then that shows if it's hard, if it's not soft, then it shows puberty. When you start having bad smell here, then it's a sign of puberty. So there are several signs for puberty, and one of the clear signs is the changes of the voice. I remember when I was a child and my voice started to change. Started to have a. So all of those are signs of puberty. In most schools, Jumhur, I think Al-Shafi'i and Al-Hanabila, if those signs don't appear, then it's the age of 15. Khalas.
Doesn't matter. Age of 15.
Either or 15. Okay, women or men. For Maliki, I think 15 orders. I think 17 is more popular, more mashhur. So once the person becomes puber, it is an obligation for them to pray. So before that, they pray and their salah is sahih, but it is considered as nafila. They're not fulfilling an obligation. Allah accepted from them. Allah will accept it how He will, subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Allah accepts it how He will. It may be bigger than the one who's puber, right?
You should still pray.
That's what he's thinking.
He's kind of, but thinking, doesn't have to.
Right.
Still you have to pray.
Okay. No, you have to pray. How old are you?
Forget you said that.
Huh?
10.
10. Oh, I will speak about the age of 10. So it is not wajib for the child, إِنَّمَا يُؤْمَرُ, but we are told that he should be told to pray. So it's like so if you don't start telling the young person to pray at a certain age, he reaches puberty, set 15, he's not with you, right? So it must be inculcated from a very young age. إِنَّمَا يُؤْمَرُ بِالصَّلَاةِ عِنْدَ دُخُولِ الْعَامِ السَّابِعِ, the age of 7, خلاص. little girl, little boy, at the age of 7, they should be introduced and encouraged and giving them the love and the sweetness of praying to Allah. And then they see at the age of 10, they say that if he doesn't listen, you hit them. But hitting them is like what? It's like starting to make it more important. Because not everyone, Ibn Abdul Qurtubi has a separate book on the adab of al-ilm. And he speaks about how one should never hit children when they study or to teach them Quran and whatever. In fact, I know of someone who has left Islam because of that. So one has to be very, very soft in teaching and want some coffee? Yeah, it's decaf.
So you'll not get any jitteriness.
Okay. So it's Islam is very soft and it encourages the children to do salah at a very early age, but it becomes an obligation. Shurutu wujub. It becomes an obligation at a certain age, and then shurutu sihha, the conditions of them being valid. So if these conditions are present, then the salah is valid. If you don't have these conditions, it is not valid. Okay? One of them is, it has to be a Muslim. The person has to be a Muslim. So if a Muslim is a Muslim, your salah is valid. But in the Malikiya, we have a beautiful, subtle, it's a latifa, it's a subtle thing. If someone is not a Muslim, it's still an obligation for him to pray.
Wait, does that mean if they become Muslim, they have to make up for all of the prayers they missed?
No. And if he prays, it's not accepted because it's not valid. Shurutu sihha. So if he's not a Muslim, it's not valid, but he's still obliged.
Did you understand the logic?
I thought it belonged in the first category.
Because it's mandatory for him to become a Muslim.
Okay.
And when he hears the adhan, this is in the Maliki only. So when he hears the adhan and he's baligh, this person who is not a Muslim is obliged to respond to the call of adhan and to go to pray. This is only in the Malikiya, and the scholars, the Usuli, only go through a lot of very beautiful, subtle rulings. So, first of all is the Islam. This salah is only valid if you're a Muslim. وَطَهَارَةُ الْحَدَثِ فَلَا تَصِحُّ بِغَيْرِهَا. So if you don't have wudu, you have to have wudu. If you don't have ghusl, you have to have ghusl. If you need to have ghusl, you should do ghusl. So if you need to have ghusl and you don't do ghusl, then your salah is not valid. وَطَهَارَةُ الْخَبَثِ. What is it? طَهَارَةُ الْخَبَثِ. طَهَارَةُ الْخَبَثِ.
Your place you're praying is clean?
What?
The place you're praying is clean?
The place and?
The place that you're praying in is clean.
What else?
Clean clothes.
The clothes. Very good, mashallah alayk. So the actual physical najasa is where you're praying. So it could be your clothes or the place where you're praying. So if that's removed, taharatul khabath, then your salah is valid. Okay. What if you were not aware and you prayed with it, but only realized after?
Then you have to make up for it?
No.
Okay.
Okay. What if you're so does that mean that you can pray in a washroom?
No.
Of course.
Why?
Because you knew before.
No, but it's it's a washroom, and the washroom is clean. It's a huge washroom. There's like over there, and there's like a shower here, and
Yes, you can. Yeah.
You
You
can
can.
if you have a clean place to pray.
if it's clean, okay.
There's no najas.
Yeah.
Why would you pray in a washroom?
One time I was invited at work. Okay, this is a bad example, especially for the young people. That's what happens in reality. So I was invited for work. It was Maghrib time. Maghrib is in 5 minutes. Okay, they all come in and they sit down, and they know that I don't sit where there is alcohol, so they make sure there's no alcohol, alhamdulillah. So I sit down, and I go and ask the waitress, where is the clean place here, please? She said, we have a warehouse. Okay, so sure, show me the warehouse. The warehouse is filled with alcohol.
So washroom was clean.
You know what? That warehouse, the floor was cleaner than any place that I prayed right there. I had no choice. So taharatul khabath, there's no taharatul khabath. Around you, it's far away. I had no choice. I had to pray. It's time for prayers, and I'm not gonna miss this. If I were to go to a masjid, it was gonna take me 30 minutes and come back for another, I prayed Alhamdulillah. Allah forgive me for saying this in public.
Yeah.
But this is the reality. We are faced with these things.
See, another reality, I guess they forget during the communism time, many Muslims used to pray in the washroom and the hide
Really?
Quran in there, under the car. So people have been through a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Don't assume everything is...
Yeah, no. I mean, if you say someone, I've been in a subhanallah, in a let's not stay there anyways. Let's move on. Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Allahumma ighfir lana warhamna. So, taharatul khabath. We were in taharatul khabath. Was sitrul awra. Sitrul awra. We'll go through this in detail a little bit later. To cover your private, how do you call that? Your
Private part.
private parts, right? But there is in the Maliki there is two levels of privacy of your private parts. Al-mukhaffafa or mughallada. Okay? Al-mukhaffafa is we'll talk about that, between here and your knees. Al-mughallada is less than that. So you have to be properly dressed. The minimum is between your navel to your knees. Whether the knees are included or not, that's another story, and I'm not sure the answer, but I think there's more than one opinion. وَإِسْتِقْبَالُ الْقِبْلَةِ. And you need, again, we are going to go through this shart. You need, if you're not facing the Qibla, then your salah is not valid.
What if you don't know where the Qibla is?
That's what we're going to cover, inshallah. That's a very good question. And we're going to go, there's two levels. There's one yaqeen and ijtihad wa dhann. Yaqeen is, if you're in Mecca, the Qibla in front of you, there's no question. I know where it is. Salah class. And then,
Okay, yeah.
and then there's ijtihad. This is the summary. And ijtihad is, let's say I'm alone, and this is one of the things that everyone is required to do ijtihad. We all become mujtahid. So we go, we travel, and we have my compass in your cell phone, or you have a physical compass, or you understand how the sun travels and where the north is and where the east. Khalas, you do ijtihad and you pray towards the Qibla. And then there is a dhann. It's at night, I just arrived, like a prisoner is in the cell and he has no idea where it is, so he just gives himself the best of the
Yes.
yeah, so this is a dhann. A dhann is high probability that this way is the Qibla and you pray towards the Qibla. So if you don't pray towards the Qibla, so praying towards Qibla is a validity, is a part of the validity of your salah.
What if what's called you didn't pray towards the Qibla, but you didn't know that, but then after you figured out that before you didn't pray towards the Qibla? You have to make up for it.
What happened before? Did you
Okay,
try?
okay.
Yes.
So before you didn't pray towards the Qibla, but you didn't
Yes.
know that. Then, but after you
Yes,
you
but
figured
when you
that
prayed,
out.
but when you prayed,
Yeah,
when you prayed, you tried to
Yeah.
figure it out.
yeah, but you got it wrong or something.
That's okay. When you're done, and then you figure it out, your salah is correct.
Okay.
Because you did ijtihad. See, there's yaqeen, ijtihad, with dhann. So if you did ijtihad and you prayed here and you realize it's over there, after you're done, your salah is good.
How about if it's done? You said there is another third
Same
category.
thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. So that's a very good question. What about if I'm praying here, I made ijtihad, and I'm here, and someone came to me during salah,
Told me the Qibla is
and
this.
he does this to me, and he tells me, "Listen, I know for sure it's this way." He knows. He pulls me and he says it's this way. Then,
You can't really argue when you're praying, so I guess you just follow them.
yeah, well, maybe I am more knowledgeable than this guy, right?
Then you don't.
Exactly. But I did ijtihad, and this guy just came and said, "I'm from here, and I know the Qibla is this way." For instance, this happened. I've seen it happen. This brother goes to the masjid, and it's empty. So it looks like the Qibla is this way because there's a carpet this way. Okay, and there's no lines on the floor. So he prays towards the carpet, but the Qibla is here. So someone came and he says, Qibla is here. You're in the mosque. The guy prays in the mosque. He tells you pray this way.
It
Anyways.
even happen in the train too. You're praying Jama in the train and the train is running.
Okay, that's another topic. The Qibla. Just a quick answer for this one. If you're on the boat and the fuqaha have spoken about this and you're praying towards the Qibla and the boat is turning, you keep turning toward the Qibla.
And the Imam can come from the back to the front or the back to the left.
Yes.
What if you're in your Salah and someone tries turning you towards what they think is the correct positioning of the Qibla?
Yeah.
Without certainty. What if they try turning you towards it and they're not certain that that's the...
If you made ijtihad, stay where you are. If he's doing ijtihad like you, don't follow him. In fact, this is all, I'm blaming you for this. In fact, if you and I and everyone here is traveling, and you have an Apple and you have a Samsung and my application is telling me this way, and I made a decision that the Qibla is this way, and he made a decision that the Qibla is that way, we should not pray together.
Really?
No.
Makes
No.
sense.
We should not pray, because this is, now we're in a state of ijtihad. Okay? So everyone prays where he thinks is the proper Qibla, and it's not breaking the ummah here. It's a temporary situation, right? So he makes ijtihad because he saw the sun before it set, and I saw my compass before it went, and then he saw it, and his Samsung is still working. He has a better application, and so on. So everyone has his own ijtihad. Everyone should pray in his own. That's interesting.
Agree to disagree.
Exactly, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And then the other. So we have shurut al-sihha, the validity. Shurut al-wujub, the obligation, the conditions for it being an obligation or mandatory, the conditions for the salah to be valid. We've just mentioned 5 of them, and then shurut al-wujub was-sihha. And I don't know which of the other schools, but most the other schools don't cover all of. The Malikiya is the only school that covers shart al-sihha wa shurut al-wujub wa shurut al-sihha wal-wujub. So the next conditions are a combination of. If you have this condition, it becomes not only an obligation, but it's also valid. Okay? So we're very meticulous in breaking these conditions down.
The direct translation for ijtihad is uncertainty?
No, ijtihad is to exert an effort, mental or intellectual effort. It is to exert an effort. Okay. وشروط الوجوب والصحة معا. There's 6 of them. What are these conditions?
So being a Muslim?
No. The shurut al-wujub, for it being an obligation and to be valid at the same time. These conditions are. This is the condition that we are going to cover. So if we have these conditions, it becomes an obligation, and it's also valid. The following ones. What is it? Bulugh al-da'wah. Okay, Bulugh al-da'wah is someone who has heard Islam, who has heard about Islam. So someone who heard the adhan. So this could be either or, and I believe it's the adhan. So the adhan for dhuhr has been called. Okay, so it becomes an obligation and valid. You cannot pray dhuhr before its time. So now you know that it's dhuhr. Okay, the adhan has been called. So, and also we said that it's haram to call the adhan before the time. We've covered that. Wa al-aql, someone who doesn't have a mental problem. Okay, so if you're sane, it is valid to pray, and it is wajib for you to pray. Wa dukhul al-waqt, this is the bulugh al-da'wah. The time has come in. وَالْقُدْرَةُ عَلَى إِسْتِعْمَالِ الطَّهُورِ, and to be capable to use the water or tayammum. To be able to do wudu or tayammum.
Yeah.
Okay? وَعَدْمُ النَّوْمِ الْغَفْلَةِ, someone who sleeps, who's not sleeping, and who's not oblivious. Maybe it's time. Khalas, he knows it. He was like daydreaming. Hey, come on, it's time for salah. So it becomes an obligation. If he was daydreaming or playing or something and he forgets, then it is not. He's
Really?
not.
It's
Yeah.
not a sin.
Listen, you're
Human.
human, exactly. You've been driving and your mind is busy. I'm delivering this and that, and then A'udhu billah, dhuhr. I didn't pray my dhuhr. What happened there?
I mean, nowadays we have our phones to remind us. So
It doesn't
I don't
matter.
know.
I mean, it happens. It happens.
You zoom out in the playing video game and you pass the
No,
asr.
I know a very pious person who was doing he's doing his homework, and he was there between I think Asr to Isha, and he forgot to do Maghrib. He's very pious, and he got really angry at himself. It happens. Allahu A'lam.
It's not sinful or anything.
What?
It's not sinful or
It
anything.
says عدم النوم والغفلة. He was oblivious, so it's not an obligation for him anymore. He's oblivious.
Okay.
When عدم النوم, what about the taxi driver who came in the morning at 9 o'clock or 12 o'clock, the adhan is not called yet. He slept, man. He went into deep sleep until Isha.
I mean, sleeping or unconscious. so
His
that makes sense,
his alarm rang. He was not being. His alarm rang, but he was too
Did he
tired.
turn it off?
Yeah, I bet he turned it off.
Or he accidentally turned it off. Accidentally. Okay.
So what the text is saying is that it's not. You don't need to make it up afterwards.
Of course
Or
you make it
do
up.
make it up.
Of course you make it up.
But okay.
But it's not fara'id.
At that moment, you're not there to do it. At that moment.
But it's still you still
You
are
still have to
required
do it.
make it up. Yeah.
The thing is, so the person did not pray Asr, and it's Maghrib time, he has to pray Asr, but it's no longer Qada, it's Ada.
And,
Oh, qada and ada. Okay, different.
Qada and Ada.
It's different. Okay.
So he's not doing Qada because he didn't do it on purpose.
Okay.
It wasn't an obligation to do it on time.
Okay.
It wasn't an obligation to do it on time. And if he's oblivious also, it's not an obligation to do it on time. He forgot, he's not aware of it.
So let's say someone has a chronic sleeping issue
Yeah,
and they struggle with Fajr.
yeah.
How would you differentiate between qada and ada for
He prays it right away after he wakes up. He prays it when he wakes up. Qada is you had to do it. Well, I guess you're right. I mean, we'll have to.
Yeah.
To
In
go into detail
application,
about
how
it.
does qada or ada make a difference?
The application doesn't make a difference, right, Stevie?
Qada there's like a. It's a good question. It's a good question.
Qada, there is a punishment for it, right? I mean, like from Allah, not for the. You have to ask for the tawbah. You have to say sorry to Allah.
You did ithm. There is ithm
Okay.
for qada. Ithm. There's no punishment. There is ithm. Ithm is you've sinned. You did something wrong. Ada, you didn't do anything wrong. It's over your control, beyond your control. Okay. That's why it says. عدم النوم والغفلة. So if you're awake and you're perfectly aware that it's time to pray, then it becomes sahih and valid. والخلو من الحيض والنفاس, and for the woman, of course, that she doesn't have her menses or it's not a postnatal blood. فالذي So this is the rest is a commentary for the last two or last three. It says فالذي فقد طهورين فالذي فقد الطهورين أو فقد القدرة على استعمالهما كالمكره والمربوط لا تجب عليه الصلاة ولا تصح منه ولا يقضيها إن زال عذره بعد خروجه. This is specific to the Maliki. This is specific to the Maliki, and we'll cover this one by one. I want to sneeze. I want to sneeze, so I'm going to get close to. I did not sneeze. I just coughed.
In case we're paranoid.
Oh no.
So it says فَالَّذِي فَقَدَ الطَّهُرَيْنِ. So we're speaking about the one who does not have water or earth to do do tayammum, right?
Okay, so for him, Salah is not for us?
Yes.
It is for us.
It is in the mashhur.
Mashhur is
In the mashhur. It's also the word. It's also the opinion of Imam Malik. But the later Malikiya, his students differed with him. Okay, so if you don't find water, like the person, may Allah protect all of us, who is in a cell,
chained, yeah.
or even he's not chained, but
It's concrete, right?
it's concrete. Jazakallah khair.
You cannot make tayammum?
No, concrete. Concrete is how do you call it? Not natural.
Oh, because it has to be clay or soil.
Yes. Even if it is
Steel container. How about a steel container?
no.
Yeah.
No.
Stone.
Natural means some sort of dirt or
Stone.
stone or...
Even
Or
if
sand?
it's baked clay, it should not be in an oven. It should be under the sun. That's okay. So it's gotta be natural.
Natural, okay.
That and Malikiya is very, very relaxed on what you can do tayammum on. So you find and then of course in the later Malikiya you can take the opinion of the other schools. For instance, if you're on a plane, you don't have any water, you're in a train. A lot of these, like I'm saying this and it's going to be recorded, but this is an opinion which is acceptable by some scholars. I've asked Sheikh Ahmed, and he was concurrent with the Maliki opinion, is Hanbali, but he says okay, if you have no other means, then take the dust. And this is applicable to those who are in the hospital, don't have a rock, don't have water, don't have earth. Take the dust on something, like on the floor, even if it's not.
Isn't that going to make you more dirty?
It's not dirty.
No, it's dust. It's dust. Plus, you do this, then you wipe your face. You do this, okay, and then you wipe your face.
What constitutes a sufficient amount of dust?
You're going to measure it in
No,
millimeters?
there's no amount. For this opinion, just
So-
do it. Because you want to pray. You don't want to be. So the person who is in the cell, may Allah protect us. There's dust everywhere. Do your salah. But here we're talking about. You have a question before we continue.
So, like, according to some, if the cloth is dusty, or like cloth or something, a towel
Yeah,
is dusty.
yeah.
You can. How about if you're sitting on a plane and in the front of the plane,
Yeah,
say,
yeah. If it's
almost
dusty.
there is no dust.
Yeah.
You can just assume
But
there is
don't
dust.
take this. Don't take this and do it all the time.
And stretch it.
This is very extreme.
Okay.
Because you will find water, you will find the soil in the plants. You can wait a little bit. There's all sorts of solutions.
Okay.
Please. So I'm just talking about the extreme cases, and especially to counter this mashhur in the Maliki. Okay, so in the mashhur of the Maliki, if you don't have water and you don't have soil for tayammum or a rock for tayammum, and the time has fit, you're not obliged to pray. There's no obligation, okay? And the salah is not sahih. It's not valid. So if the time has gone, Dhuhr and Asr has gone, and it's Maghrib, you don't have to repeat it. You don't have to
You
do
don't have
qada.
to qada or ada.
That's what I'm saying.
I see. Okay.
And this is mashhur, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm speaking about, this counter.
Wait, so two opinions.
This is the mashhur, and the later Malikiya do not agree. Okay? The later Malikiya have made it easier for you to perform your salah on time. Okay?
Okay.
See, just want to emphasize that one. You know the brother that I guess I told you before, the brother who was in the Guantanamo prison.
May Allah protect us, yeah.
May Allah protect all of us. So it was common for them to be chained,
Allah.
and they do bathroom while in that position.
Ya Allah.
Okay, and then they feed them while they're in chain.
Ya Allah.
And like this, they are transported. They are sometimes for days.
It's been recorded.
Okay. So, but no salah is for us on that. In that holy stage, there is no
Of course,
salah.
how
For
In
us.
the Malikiya,
But in other school, they're for us. Okay.
yeah, you do your best.
Okay.
You do
May
your
Allah
best.
forgive us.
Ameen,
Okay.
ameen.
So there is no salat for us on them. For that, according to Malikiya. But other school,
Yes,
there
in the
is.
Malikiya.
No qada, no ada.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the والمربوط لا تجب So the person who's we just described it. So المربوط لا يجب عليه الصلاة ولا تصح منه ولا يقضيها. That's what we've just been talking about. إن زال عذره بعد خروجه وقتها. Who else? فالذي فقد Okay. This is what? How much time? 30. We'll stop here at 30, inshallah. Liban, we'll stop recording, but we'll open the floor for more discussions. Jazakumullah khair. Barakallahu fikum wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah.